Good morning, LinkedIn. I'm Christine Kidder, your career job search coach, helping you, guiding you to work that works for you and a career plan. You don't have to be a job seeker because I work with non job seekers as well, uh, because maybe there's something you can do to make your current job a lot better, or maybe you need to put together more of a plan for your next position, how you're going to be promoted, an exit plan, whatever. We are going to get started in a couple minutes, actually 1 minute, because it's almost time to start the planning session. And I need to share my screen with you. I'm going to go ahead and do that in the next minute. That way we can get started on time. I hope everyone had a great weekend and is ready to go for today's planning session. And for some reason, I'm not, oh, there it is. I couldn't see it right away. There we go. All right, so you should see on the screen our template. This is 7 steps to job search results. I need to update this though, because it's not just this template. You can use it. We do use it for planning your week. I use it. And we will go from there. Now, do me a favor. I need you to like this. I need you to give me comments. Let me know in the comments. Just drop it where you're tuning in from, where you're working from this morning. That would be great. I'd really appreciate it. Again, just give me the city, state, place that you are in right now. And it's like 10 o'clock already. It is. Time keeps on marching along, and we got to keep up with it. So let's make sure that we do that. All right, great. We're going to go ahead and get started. Our first, oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. Okay, it's already 10:01. So our first step is we're going to get focused. Maybe you've had a busy, crazy morning already. You need to get present to this planning session. And I encourage you to do this in all of your meetings. If you're leading a meeting, you want everyone to be focused on the meeting. If you're not focused on the meeting, it's not going to be very effective. Why even bother? So for this first step, we're going to, it's like a warm up. We're going to create some mental white space and do a brain dump of everything that you have on your mind right now. Our minds are not the best for storage. Don't use your mind as a filing cabinet. Use it for creativity. That's what it's meant for. Everything that you have on your mind, get it off your mind, put it on a blank sheet of paper, or you could put it into a Word document if you're more digital. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer for 5 minutes, starting now. And I have some background noise too. I apologize. My dog is really working on a bone this morning. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so you can do your brain dump and create some mental white space. Less than 2 minutes left. That is my timer going off. It sounds a little sick, but that's okay. Maybe I just need some coffee. We're going to get started or move on to the next step, which is to jump into our inbox. And as a reminder, I mentioned this earlier, there's some background noise. Sorry, my dog is really working on that bone, but at least he's not interrupting our session too much right now. Okay, getting back to this. All right, so we have to jump into our inbox. Oh, and I wanted to say too, I know that there's more people that are coming into the session. Sometimes people can't make it right when it starts. That's fine. If you find that, you know, in future sessions, you can only come in at 10:15 and stay for 20 minutes, it's not a problem. People come in and come out because at least you can get some planning in the live session. Plus, you want to get on my email list too, because I do send out the recording. You can always follow along with that if Mondays are just not the best day for you to plan. You want to make sure that you get on my email list, because that way you'll get all the resources that I send out regularly. And I'm constantly sending out new resources. That's important. I will drop the link in the comments for that. But anyway, we got to move forward here on the next step, as I was starting to say, which is to conquer our inbox. You need to jump into our inbox and clean it up, make it better. Email is a very helpful tool, but we misuse it often. We let it get clogged up. We just, you know, and also too, it's an important tool in your job search. What we need to do in the next 5 minutes is jump in there and unsubscribe to that emails you don't need anymore. Delete the ones that you don't need anymore. Clean out the clutter. Maybe if you are doing a job search, maybe you need to reach out to a connection that you've been meaning to, you've been procrastinating. You could use this time to send them that email. You could also use it as a follow-up email, someone that you need their help with regarding a project that you're working on. Let's set the timer to get started on this 5 minutes now. And don't forget, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. Less than 2 minutes. The timer is going off and the background noise is not quite as bad now. Thanks for your patience. I really appreciate it. All right, we need to keep on moving here. That is important. Now we're going to go. Oh, we're still on this. It's just I'm changing my screens to keep this moving along. This next step is really, really important. It is kind of the, not kind of, it is the core of the session. It's activating your week, and you activate it by setting your weekly goals. And we work backwards. Pretend it is Friday afternoon. What would it be? What needs to happen this week in order for you to feel great about the week? For you to feel like you had a productive week, a successful week, that you got the results that you wanted. What are those results? Now you have to figure out, how do I get there? What is the action that I need to take? So again, you don't want to, it's like, okay, what is it going to take for me to feel good about this week, to feel that it was productive? What are those 3 to 5 goals? Don't set too many goals, because that's when we have to be focused. If you have too many soccer balls that you're trying to kick down the field, guess what? You're not going to get anything down the field. So what are those 3 to 5 goals for the week? And then if you have some extra time in this 5-minute time block, then start to think what your daily goals would be. And again, those shouldn't be any more than 3 to 5 as well. I'm scrolling down here to show you, I do have, as part of the materials that you receive from this session, is you get a blank worksheet for each day. So it's for the week, but it has space for every day of the week for you to plot out. I actually have 4 slots, as you see, per day, but there is space if you had 5 goals. But you get this from getting on my list. So be sure to, I put, and then I'm going to go ahead and set the timer right now for our next 5 minutes. Go. Again, set your weekly goals. What do you need to do? What are those goals? No more than 3 to 5 goals. That is our timer going off again, telling us it's time to keep on moving and we need to go to the next phase. This is another area that people struggle with. I get so many questions on this. What it is, it's connecting, networking. People hate networking. That's why I don't like to call it networking. I call it connecting instead. Often when you hear the word networking, you feel, ooh, you don't look forward to it. But connecting sounds better. So we're going to be working on connecting. And in order for connecting to happen, we have to schedule it. We have to use our calendar as the valuable tool that it is and actually put in our calendar when we're going to have live conversations with at least 3 people. If you're doing a job search, these are key prospects, either with an employer or maybe someone who can help you to get into that employer or have a conversation. If you're not doing a job search with the project you're working on, who do you need to talk with to move your project further? We don't do our work by ourselves as an island. We always need people to work with, to come together. This is key. So anyway, we need to do that. And then I'm going to modify my screen share here. I'll do that during the break because it's more effective. I want you to get started on this. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for now for you to to block out that time for when you're going to schedule those 3 conversations during the week. And then I will be sharing a tip sheet that I'll talk about a little further. You can read it, of course, feel free to do that. But I want you to schedule those starting now. We get 5 minutes for this. Less than 2 minutes. All right. Before we go to our next step in planning this morning, I wanted to speak to, or I need to speak about this current screen that I'm sharing with you. This is my tip sheet that I recommend you follow in connecting, not networking, connecting with people. Connecting replaces the term networking because we want to feel good about connecting, and we need to connect in order to have the results that we want. Use this tip sheet. What this tip sheet does is it makes it more fun to connect with others. It makes a game out of it by giving yourself points. Be competitive with yourself and give yourself points for the different connection activities that you're doing. When you get a personal referral, you receive a point, and that could be basically to any contact, a hiring manager or key decision maker or a key contact. You get 2 points when you have a virtual or face-to-face appointment with one of those contacts. And again, it can be basically any contact. You get 3 points for a face-to-face or virtual meeting, I should say, with a specific networking connection or search firm or a key decision maker. So that's a little bit more specific on the type of connection that you're making. And then you get an awesome 4 points when you have an interview with either a search firm or a hiring company. And here's a little thermometer for what you should be shooting for. You really want to have at least 25 points for the week to have a good week. But I know that you can do even more. That's what that is. Okay, now I'm going to stop this share to get us back to our template that we're following, because that's what we're going back to. Oh, and by the way, just as another reminder, you want to make sure you're on my list, because that way you'll get the materials from this planning session. Here we are with where we're our next step. Okay, now we're going to have a little bit more time, because really we've only had 5 minutes for each step. Now I'm going to give you a whopping 10 minutes. And this is an important thing that we need to do regularly. I think sometimes we get really focused on being in action and doing and doing and doing. This is an important thing to do. This is an action step, but it's reviewing our documentation. And it's for that project that you're working on, or also for your job search. Your documentation is your LinkedIn profile, your resume, your cover letter. You should have templates that you're using to efficiently leverage your time. Now is the time to look at those templates, those documents, and update it. Make whatever updates or revisions that you need to, because typically Documentation of value is a living, changing document always. I will set the timer for our 10 minutes starting now. And please put any questions in the comments that you might have for me. Again, a whopping 10 Less than 4 minutes left. That is our handy dandy timer again. All right. Next step is one of my favorites, and it is to shout out to thank anyone who's helped us. It's gratitude. It's 5 minutes for gratitude. If you're not doing a job search, you should, for the projects you're working on, it may not be done yet. That's fine, but you need to recognize and thank the people that have been helping you to move your project along. If you are in job search mode, who's helped you so far with your search? And the way you do that, you need to consider all the different ways you can do that. It's really nice to tag someone on social media if someone has helped you, or maybe send them an email or a text message or call them. you have a live conversation with them and thanking them, that's a really great thing too. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. I also want to thank you for being in the session. Thank you so much. I know you have a lot going on. We all have so much going on, yet you decided to be here at this moment today. Thank you for doing that and for trusting in me to work with you on this planning session. I'm really honored by that. So thank you for doing that. And I will set the timer for 5 minutes right now. Less than 2 minutes. Okay, we're coming near down the stretch, and we are not at the racetrack. We're wrapping up our planning session. Okay, and again, the dogs are making some noise in the background, but it's not too bad. Okay, this is a very important step, as you'll see, and it's kind of an addition to the gratitude because it's really important to do this to stand out from others. And what it is taking 5 minutes to write a handwritten note to someone who's helped you. And it's really good to do it for a job interview as a follow-up. But everybody's sending an email thank you. But what if you were to send a handwritten thank you note? You want to get it in the mail, get it to them as soon as possible. It makes you stand out. It really does. And think about the times that you've received a handwritten thank you note. How often has that really happened? And how did it make you feel? Probably pretty good. My tip is going to be next, so stick around. We're going to go ahead and set the timer for 5 minutes starting now. Less than 2 minutes left, and then I will give you my new tip for this week. It is 10:57 and it's time for me to give you my new tip for the week. I'm going to go to full screen for this. All right. Oops. Actually, just me. That's just the full screen I needed. Okay. Quick. Job searches. If you're not in job search, our work can have its ups and downs. It can feel like a roller coaster. You can have really stressful times and then smooth sailing. Regardless, to get you through those peaks and valleys, especially the valleys, the low times, because it's so easy to get stuck in that. And it's important to get out as soon as you can because our mindset really is major. It is so major. An easy thing to do with that is pick an image, a picture, one picture that you can look at that makes you smile and that elevates your mood. And ideally, it should be a picture of that thing that you've been working on. So if you're in job search mode, find a picture that to you represents your new job that you're working toward, that you're trying to find. Do that. Or if you're in a job right now, you're not super happy with it, try to find a picture that represents you being happy at work, your job really being what you want it to be. Use that tool to elevate your mindset and then go to it. Look at that picture often. And then let me know if it works. Try it for 21 days because it takes 21 days to build a new habit. Try it and see if that works for you. I would love to get your feedback on that and see if that makes a difference. I've been doing that and it really helps because we're so visual in our learning and in our ideas. And if you've ever used visualization to get the result that you need, then you'll understand how powerful the tool it is. Many professional athletes use visualization. Tiger Woods, he uses that. And you often, those successful athletes and successful leaders find that they do visualization just automatically. They may not even be aware that they're doing it, but they are doing it and it is getting them to where they need. Thanks again for being in my live work session. Oh, and I almost forgot, I'm going to be on again at 12 p.m. today. And this is for a special collaboration event that I'm doing with Susie Solari and Kate Bays. And it's about virtual presentation, shining your brightest light in all virtual meetings. You may feel comfortable, but there's probably at least one thing that you could be doing better. Thanks again for your time, and I'll see you not next week. Next week is Labor Day, so we won't be doing this next Monday, the following Monday. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks.